next step as a government. You guys ready? Okay, thanks everybody for coming here this evening. We do have another important update we wanted to share with individuals throughout the province. There will be an evacuation alert issued for a portion of the towns of Paradise and Conception Bay South. This is an immediate precautionary evacuation alert that is being issued both by the town of Conception Bay South and by the town of Paradise. So these alerts are coming from them, and we support this decision, and they've worked in conjunction with the Department of Forestry here at the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador to determine the area of these communities that need to be covered by this alert. Just so the residents know where the alerts are located. For Paradise residents, it is the area on the south side of Topsail Road from the Outer Ring Road exit to the CBS boundary. For Conception Bay South residents, it's starting at the Paradise Outer Ring Road turnoff onto Route 60 through to Manuel's River Bridge, up Peacekeepers Way to the Cloverleaf on the Trans-Canada Highway, and back to the Paradise Trans-Canada Highway turnoff. And for clarity, for CBS residents, this means all properties east of Manuel's River should all be evacuated and ready to be evacuated if so directed. Now, I want to be very, very clear on a couple of points. Please, anyone in or around this part of the province, stay away from the evacuated area. There are individuals who do need to potentially get gas, maybe pick up some food, get some personal items that they need to take in the event there's an evacuation order, and any additional cars on the road is not helpful. And also just in the event, just to be extra safe, in the event that, of course, fire and emergency services or first responders need to get on the road, extra cars on the road is not helping anybody. It's not a time to go out to look to see the smoke or to see the flame or to see what it looks like in the skies. So please stay out of the evacuation alert area. The second point I want to make is this is not an evacuation order, and there is no evacuation alert for any community members in Mount Pearl or in Southlands. This right now is an evacuation alert for people to get ready. As I personally talked to individuals in Carbonear over the past few days, some of them regret it, not taking an evacuation alert seriously, and they did not have their items ready to go when an order came. Having said that, this system does work. We provide alerts to put people on notice, and we make the order when the next step is necessary and when people's safety then is potentially at risk, and we are not at that stage right now. Of course, the alert has now been issued, so please, throughout the rest of the evening and potentially overnight, everybody in this area must be prepared to receive an evacuation order on any moment's notice. We are, of course, continuing to have fire behavior specialists. Right now they are in the air looking at this fire to continually monitor the situation to make that determination whether an evacuation order will need to be made. The Trans-Canada Highway right now is open, and we will continue to evaluate that situation as well. In the event, of course, that there is an evacuation order, we will ask people in this area to move to 2 evacuation centers, which will be the schools in Kelligrews. Just a quick update, the fire issues in Labrador are now completely under control. The fire in the Kingston fire, unfortunately, has moved into Ochre Pit Cove, so that's some unfortunate news. As for the fire here in the Paradise area, next to Paddy's Pond, it has grown to very approximate number is 200 hectares. So obviously that has grown very quickly in size in the last number of hours. That's close to the size of the Martin Lake fire already. So this is why, of course, the steps needed to be taken to make sure that individuals in this evacuation zone are notified about the situation. The 2 water bombers, as we notified the public today, did and are continuing to work on this fire. And as well, we pulled the 2 Quebec air assets, the 2 water bombers from Quebec that were at the Martin Lake fire to the Paddy's Pond fire throughout the day. So again, please, not a time to panic, a time to just continue to listen to Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, Town of CBS, Town of Paradise news alerts and social media, and make sure you look at the trusted sources as we work through the situation in the next number of hours and days. Minister Haggie.
Thank you, Premier. I won't take too much time. I think it's important to emphasize this is an alert. It is not an order to evacuate for the residents in these areas. This is a time where if you haven't, you should get prepared. The Government of Newfoundland and Labrador website has an excellent page on getting prepared. It tells you about a go bag, things you need to put in it, what you need to have handy, and do not forget your medications. It is important that where possible, your car has a reasonable amount of gas. Those are things that can be done now, although I gather already the gas stations in the area are actually filling up. In terms of traffic on the road, I'd like to reiterate what the Premier said. We've already had 3 significant vehicle collisions on neighboring roads where people have stopped at random, almost in the middle of traffic, simply to take photographs and video. This is stupidity and should not occur. People need to keep away. It's not an event to go and sightsee. It's an event to support our neighbours and fellow Newfoundlanders and Labradorians and let them have the access they need to the roads. With that, I will hand it back to you, Premier. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Minister Dempster, any comments?
Thank you, Premier. I do feel it's my duty now, every briefing, to remind people to be careful. We don't need more fires. We continue to have windy weather. Temperatures are still very high. Conditions are still very dry. I also want to remind the folks who are feeling very anxious right now, and I've heard from MHAs, I've heard from constituents, areas like Mount Pearl, Southlands, it's really kind of blanketed with thick smoke right now. I was recently in that area about a half an hour ago, and I want to remind folks to follow the official channels. As the Premier had said, we are doing our utmost to keep you updated as we get new information. And I also want to say again, our committed team is doing everything they can to ensure your safety. They are very determined. It's been a long season already and will remain relentless. And should you feel very anxious, with this additional fire that's in a closer to a heavier populated area, we do want to remind you to call 811. And as I mentioned earlier, my final point, firesmartcanada.ca. Take the few minutes to go there and ensure that your property is fire safe. Is the yard free of combustible debris? There's a whole list of things that you can go through and check off, and it might be the best thing that you've done for your property in a while. I'll turn it back to you, Premier.
Thanks. And just I will make a final point that I haven't had a chance to talk to the mayors of CBS and Paradise. I did speak to the mayor of CBS earlier today. That they will be issuing maps just to make sure everyone specifically knows specifically the areas that we're talking about. But I think that just reading that, the Paradise, what I read out, Paradise and CBS residents will be familiar with the area. But that clarification will be provided. Okay, any questions?
Do you have any estimate on how many people this puts under evacuation alert?
I don't have that number, but yeah, I mean, it would certainly be, I'm just, shouldn't be guessing.
Premier, I believe the most accurate number, if I may, is around 13,000.
It's like a size of an electoral district, is what I was going to say.
13 to 15,000 is the number we've been given.
If these people have to evacuate, where do 13,000 people go?
Yeah, so the 2 schools in Kelligrews will be the first place where we ask people to go. As we've seen through most situations, not only this summer but previous summers, that the vast majority of people do have somewhere to go. Whether it's family or friends or someone else that they're able to find in the communities. And of course, bad news, of course, this is in the most heavily populated part of the province. But the good news then, of course, there's lots of people around that are going to be willing to help out.
With regards to the power line, does that continue to be an issue that you're looking at?
No further update than today, but we obviously continue to monitor it, but nothing has gotten worse in the sense of any transmission lines.
Just given things are changing so quickly, would you advise everyone in the province have a backpack, have something ready to go?
It certainly doesn't hurt. You can have any emergency can arise at any time anyways, whether it's fires or storms or even a fire in your own home or your neighbor's home. We could go on and on and on. So I think it's probably safe practice to make sure that everybody is ready for any emergency situation.
Which way is the Paddy's Pond fire going? Can you explain a little more of the behavior of that fire right now?
Yeah, I think it was still going in towards the Paddy's Pond fire. Jamie can correct me if I'm wrong on this, into the Paddy's Pond. And I think there's a quarry a little bit northeast of that, which is moving towards that. The work is trying to contain it at the head of Paddy's Pond right now, and I think it will be a great success if that's the result of the end of the day's work. And the quarry would potentially provide some break as well if it does get beyond Paddy's Pond. And then I think the other pond there is 3 Arm Pond, I think if I have it right. That would certainly be a trigger for us to make a decision on evacuation if it gets to that point, just to give a bit of more geographical context in terms of risk.
Are there any early indications of where and how it may have started?
How it started? No indication. Where, I mean, we can pinpoint on that transmission line. There was a map we had up earlier that was pretty accurate to where it started.
Did anything change in the behavior since we last spoke at 2 o'clock, or was this just an abundance of caution? By the
No,
mayor?
so just from looking at that map, that where we had that mark, that small marker dropped earlier, it has moved completely northeast as we predicted towards Paddy's Pond. So that would be the 200 hectares northeast of where the fire started.
Minister Haggett, you mentioned there being 3 accidents, and people maybe looking at the fires. Can you expand on that? And, you know, are these people okay?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question. There's no microphone handy to you.
Minister Haggie, he asked about accidents that you are aware of, and if everyone is okay, as far as you know.
As far as we know, these were damage to vehicles that just simply stopped on the highway, but they caused, obviously, hindrance to traffic, and they tied up emergency first responders, likely including the local fire department. These people are needed elsewhere.
I just want to make sure I understand how many air assets are working on the fire at Paddy's Pond, and how long they can continue to work on that tonight.
Yeah, so 4 would be there now, 2 of our water bombers and 2 of the Quebec water bombers, and they can work until dark.
The water bombers that have been pulled off other fires, like the Kingston fire, have they been replaced, and will they be replaced?
Well, we'll continue to seek other assets. I think the Ontario ones are on the way, or probably landing at any minute, to be honest with you. I know some of the guys we were talking to online are at the airport, and we're kind of waiting for them to land, so they'll be available for us tomorrow. And then when we do our assessments tomorrow morning on the fires throughout the province, decisions will be made, of course, about where to allocate the resources that we have. The unfortunate part of today is that the Kingston fire did continue to run and to burn, and it was quite hot. The fire crews on the ground had to be removed. Those decisions had to be made about when it's safe to send people and planes into the area.
And have you gone to every other province for water bombers, and have you gone to outside private markets and outside?
Yeah, so we've gone to private market, and we're continuing to look at other private options as well. We don't go to individual provinces. We go through the international agency. I'm not sure what the term is. And they make decisions based on requests that are being made across the country. And those requests, as you can see, if you watch the news, are coming in from across the country. Certainly Quebec, Ontario, New Brunswick, British Columbia. I know Manitoba and Saskatchewan have been dealing with this as well since early May. So assets are thin throughout the country in terms of transferring them between provinces. So we're very grateful for what's been provided to us from our sister provinces to date.
It does seem now like you're at a point where you have to make very tough decisions. What goes where? I'm sure you'd like more. Can you tell us what goes into making that decision about how to spend your very scarce assets at this point?
Yep. I'll let Jamie talk a little bit more about that, but of course, risk assessments, fire behavior, location of fire, all kinds of things like that are obviously going to be taken into account. Yeah.
I'll just add to that, we have incident commanders, a number of them trained in our department, and they are trained in coordination and distribution of assets in these fires. And really they are experts at that as well as risk assessment. So those folks, Minister Dempster referenced them, I think, this morning, play a very significant role, and we are very lucky to have people who are as talented and dedicated as they are, and we trust their advice when they make decisions about where assets should be located.
Are you kind of forced to make some sort of preference towards very populated areas? Is that fair to say?
No, I don't know if that's fair to say. It's always safety first. Fire behavior is going to be a consideration as well. But safe to say that the priority is people's safety. This is why we do the evacuation alerts and why we do evacuation orders. It has worked perfectly in fires throughout the province this summer. Everybody has paid attention to the orders, and everybody's safe.
I'd just add
Yeah.
to that, if I could, that every situation and every decision is, it's a snapshot in time. So as an example, today, when crews were being pulled off of Kingston because suppression was absolutely not effective, it was shortly after that we heard of the start by Paddy's Pond. So it's easy to generalize, but every specific variable is considered at that particular point in time.
Premier, have you thought about implementing any new restrictions for residents in the province with this latest?
I think people talk about restrictions in terms of going into the woods. This fire was started, it did start, I shouldn't say it was started, it did start on a transmission line. It didn't start in the woods. I don't think it's the right step to make decisions that aren't necessarily going to be linked to outcomes. So, the fines, I think, are appropriate given that there were reports of people starting these fires. And as a deterrence mechanism for individuals, I think it's the right thing to do. And sometimes these things are out of our control. There might very well have been nobody near this transmission line this afternoon and the fire started for whatever reason, which was out of our control.
Do you have a count of the number of structures affected by the Paddy's Pond fire?
We don't. I know at some stage we were reporting around 6, and then it got up to 9 or so, and I think beyond that we haven't been able to confirm.
Is there any update on what this means for athletes in Canada Games with the smoke lingering over the metro area?
Yeah, so my understanding now, I think the lacrosse game this evening in Paradise was postponed. As of that, I don't think anything else has been affected. I know there's a soccer game taking place now not far from here in St. John's. And as we've said all week, obviously Canada Games will continue to monitor the situation. It clearly shows they are. They've made the decision to postpone. And they do have contingency plans in place anyways, which normally would be for weather or any other such things. So they'll now put those plans in place to deal with it on a day-by-day basis. But again, safety first.
Dealing with air quality issues, I mean, should people be wearing masks or locking their doors?
Dr. Fitzgerald was certainly speaking about this air quality issues really when these fires started last week. And any public recommendations that she feels are necessary, she'll communicate, and we'll certainly support her in communicating that to the public.
So there's also a website where folks can check to see what level, whether it's a low risk, a moderate, or a high risk for air quality. We've been promoting that through our official channels as well.
All right, thanks very much for coming here again this evening. It's very much appreciated in getting your support to get this information to the public. Thanks, everybody, and stay safe.